Music has always been a big part of my life, singing since I could talk. It's always been something that I've done, whether at church or whether at home. But music was always the one thing that I could go to and just kind of like everything else just kind of like fades away because I'm doing my music. And it was always something I wanted to do, was to grow up and be a professional musician. So as a kid, I was overweight because I had a lot of stuff happening in my life, and I was one of those emotional eater kind of people, which, you know, added to the weight thing. And so my perception of myself was based off of other people's perceptions of me. You know, you're overweight. You're never going to be a singer because you don't have the right look. You're not what everyone expects. So I grew up listening to all this, you're never going to make it as a singer because. And I let myself believe that. So even though music was my passion, I decided not to major in music. And I went for my secondary, my fallback choice, which was education. And right after college, I left the country and I started teaching overseas. I lived in South Korea for 3 years teaching English. But one of the best things about living over there was the community of people that I met. When you're living in another country where you don't belong to the people, you know, the people group, we're not Korean, you know, and you don't speak the language, you connect more easily with those who you do share things in common with. Living as an expatriate is a completely different world because I feel like we make these connections with people first out of necessity, because if you want to talk to someone in English, you kind of got to make friends with whoever speaks English around you. You don't have a lot of choice. But I found that the people in expatriate groups tend to be more accepting and more open, and we have a different view on life. It really doesn't become about like, I have to be friends with them because there's no one else. It becomes, I'm gonna find what is great about this person, not because there's no one else, but because I can. And because I know, like in my travels and being in different countries, that there is something great about every person that you meet. And that's what the expat group is. I found all of this love and acceptance for these people, that no matter my background, and they didn't know my history, you know, they don't know where I came from, they don't know, you know, growing up in my life and the things that I dealt with, but despite not knowing me that well, they were completely accepting of who I was, no matter what I went through. And they found all these good things about me, and that's all that it was building up these great things about who I was. And when it comes back to music, and back to the music thing, I got involved in a lot of musical theater when I was in Korea. And it just took one woman who went to my church who was like, hey, I'm going to start a community theater on the military base. And so I went and auditioned for the show. And I mean, it was a very small role, and I loved being a part of it. And it made me remember how much I loved doing music and having a creative outlet. And from there, and this was in my final year in Korea, I was involved in 4 musicals. And the people there were just so supportive of me and my dreams. And it helped me really awaken the dream that I had before of doing music and being creative and seeing that I could do it in a professional manner. And those people, I never heard, you can't do it because. It was always, you can do it. You have the personality, you have the talent, you have what it takes. Despite what everyone says, you can do it. I mean, even so much that, you know, we had a cast party and my friend was introduced to me. She's like, this is the best singer in Seoul, hands down. And I've never heard that. And that really been something to me, because I know that I'm talented, but to see someone have that much confidence in me. In this, I mean, we were in a room full of super talented people, like just amazing musicians. And I made the decision to move back to the US. I really needed to get back to who I was and to my original goals, the things that I wanted to do when I was a child, Because even though there were dreams as a child, it doesn't mean that they were childish, impossible dreams. Even though I've had a lot of things in my life that have told me that I can't do it, I know that I can. And I think it took my experience in Korea to build that confidence up that I needed to help me believe that I can do that.